I think, being said. Not only the disease to our lungs and other things in our body, there's a lot more things out there too. So we have these killer chemicals so full of various toxic materials that they are guaranteed to radically up the death rate. And we have seen that. That's happening already. And already cases of new lung cancers are up 1,000%, not 100%, 1,000% from what they were last year. Now, that tell you something.
And that's within a 1-year period.
1 year.
Wow. Can I ask you, where can we find that info? I would love to share that link with somebody. Do you know, with everybody?
Yeah. This is all on Strange Days, Strange Skies.
Strange Days, Strange Skies?
Yeah. Yeah, just Google it and it'll come up.
We mentioned earlier a little bit about Morgellons disease, and we didn't get to go into that, but let's talk a little bit more about that. From what I've seen, there's been a huge rash of it. Lately, there's getting more and more evidence that it's being linked with areas that are being sprayed with chemtrails.
Yes.
Why don't we talk a little bit about what it actually is? What are some of the symptoms? Because I'm sure there are probably people out there that have this disease and that have been disinformed by their medical practitioner that it's all in their head, which seems to be the thing nowadays. It's like, oh no, there's nothing under your skin.
Yeah.
What? What?
These creepy crawly things. Yeah, it's just like saying, it's like anything else. If a doctor doesn't know what it is, they're about the spread of the Morgellons disease, where these chemtrails have been really amassing. And the bizarre, it looks like a staph infection when it first appears. And if anybody knows anything about staph infection, if you touch it with your fingers, touch any other place on your body, that will be infected also. And it's almost like it's an offshoot, actually, of leprosy. And it can be controlled. You can go and get a shot of whatever it is that they give you, and it can be controlled. But this disease is not controlled by the injection that they give you for Lyme disease. And what is happening is there are these bizarre, unique fibers that have been found in the bodies of the infected people. And they have been matched to fibers found in the chemtrail fallout and in raindrops. Now, what more evidence do you need than that?
Well, the masses need a lot more, but it is true. I did just see that today, that these fibers are the same fibers that are in the samples that have been taken, not only by independent scientists or independent laboratories, but some of the news media themselves have found these fibers. Like we said, Brian Norcross mentioned it, half a dozen years ago. And
it's also been reported, that there are many, once contacted with, that are many blood abnormalities.
Red cells.
Yes, that had been associated with chemtrail infection, and some doctors, the smart ones, are calling it chemtrail infection. I mean, they're making no bones about it. They may not have a practice tomorrow, but at least they're getting it out there.
Yeah, it's getting recorded.
Yeah, and they are being found in just about everyone that has been tested is showing visible signs of having a Morgellons infection.
Now, Morgellons is very painful, from what I understand. From what I understand, the patient feels a sense of like worms crawling under their skin, and
microscope, there are all these little wiry fibers.
They said it's like ripping glass out of their skin when they pull them.
Yes.
Like when they catch the little worm trying to get out, when they yank it out, it's like yanking a shard of glass out of their body. Yeah. And I just can't imagine having something like that so, overwhelming your life and your physical pain and your consciousness, and going to a medical practitioner and they're saying, oh, it's all in your head.
Well, and the thing, too, is how can you deny it when they're taking these samples out of people's bodies? How can anyone deny it? Here it is. Here is the evidence. Oh, no, it doesn't exist. Here is the evidence. Oh, no, it's your imagination, sorry.
Yeah,
That's the mentality.
Yeah, and it's funny, if anybody out there will go on YouTube and type in Morgellons, I'm not sure how to spell it off the top of my head.
It's Morgellons.
Type Morgellons and do a YouTube search. You will see people who have this affliction, and you will see these fibers coming out of their skin. It is one of the scariest scenes I have ever seen. There's a certain gentleman that every time he feels it coming out, he does tape it, and he puts it on YouTube, and it comes out of his face, out of his chin, out of his arms, and you can see it crawling around his eyes, and little by little, these fibers are coming out. And where are the fibers coming from? They're in the chemtrails.
Yes, and they said that these fibers are, the ones that they've looked at very closely, they said they seem like they're almost alive, but they're like little robots, and this is our nanotechnology. This is what's happening to us.
You know what? Thank you for bringing nanotechnology up. That's going to have to be a whole other show, but let me tell you something. That's some scary stuff.
Sure, yeah, it is very scary.
They're dealing with, they're down to, what, the atomic level, practically?
You can't even see it. It's like dust. It's smaller dust.
It's like, or no, I know it's down to the molecular. So when we're talking a molecular-sized robots that these scientists are creating, they're molecular-sized robots. Can you imagine what other wonderful things are brewing in their laboratory for us beside chemtrails and Morgellons,
This is our technology gone completely evil.
Yeah. And again, I always say that I love technology because we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without it, but boy, it's like, a good example is there's good and bad in everything. And technology is a magic. It is a form of high magic. You have your right path and your left path, and it depends which way you want to go with it. And it's just gotten out of control for these leaders. They're out of control. They are these megalomaniacs that are choosing to create this world that is going to be perfect for them without taking consideration of what is okay or acceptable for the individual. Why? Because no one says anything. That's why. Because no one wants to hear what we're talking about. They don't want to have the knowledge of what is actually going on in the world around them. Now, I don't blame somebody for hating the media news because it's all disinformation anyway. But I really feel it's very important that we all educate ourselves on these matters. The NWO, the New World Order, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, whatever you want to call them. The Vatican, by the way, please do research on that and the history of that. Because, these religions, these power brokers, because these are the people that rule the world. And these people that rule the world don't care about you. They don't care about our health. They don't care about the health of your children, of your animals, of your water, of your land. They do not care about anything but controlling this world and turning us into submissive, sheeple.
Yes, robots to do their bidding.
Absolutely. I had a young girl today come in and was talking to me, and she was asking me, well, what is the New World Order? What do they want? I'm like, think the Matrix. She goes, oh, I've never seen the Matrix. Maybe I should see it. I was like, oh yes. You're 24. I can't imagine
any young person today that hasn't seen it.
Exactly. I'm like, you're 24. You haven't heard of the Matrix. You haven't seen the Matrix yet. But and the conversation started because she was like, who are you going to vote for? And I said, Ron Paul. She goes, well, he's not going to win. I said, well, I'm still going to write it in. Because who knows, if we all decide to write it in, he might win. Not that we have a choice. He might win the popular vote, but we all pretty much know where this is heading.
Yeah. Well, back to the chemtrails, I do want to say that in Colorado Falls,